ML Nation, this is Simon Chan, and I'm fired up to bring our special guest today, especially when he messaged me out of the blue on Facebook Messenger and said he'd been listening to the show for years and it helped him get to where he is today. So I'm really fired up to have Thomas Rivas. Hey, Thomas, are you ready to make it happen?
I am super excited. I am super ready to be here on the show, Simon. Thank you so much for having me. I can't be more happy to be here. After listening to your show for so long, finally, I'm get to be here and share a little bit of my story.
Thomas Rivas is from the Dominican Republic and immigrated to America at 19 years old. He dropped out of college and then fell in love with personal development and tried network marketing, but he failed miserably because he was introverted and just couldn't get himself to go out and meet people. But Thomas still loved network marketing, and 4 years ago, he felt that with social media, he could be successful. Since then, in just 3.5 years, Thomas has built a team of over 2,500 clients and team members, get to the top 1% of his company as a multiple six-figure earner. So Thomas, welcome to the show. Why don't you take us back to, you came to America and your first network marketing experience. You said you failed miserably. What happened?
Yes. 19 years old, just fresh out of high school. I come here as an immigrant, obviously, to New York. I arrived in New Jersey with a cousin of mine. She allowed me to stay there with her. And, first experience, I look at this ad and they're like, come over here for a sales position. So I show up and, of course, it's a network marketing presentation. So I'm like, I've got pretty excited of the prospects of doing it, signed up. But, I've always been so scared of sales my entire life, so scared of, talking to people, a little bit of an introvert. So first day at the job, I go out with my sponsor and he's like, I think we were like in a coffee shop or in the middle of a mall. He's like, go approach X person and talk. I freezed miserably. That was one of my gut just like, I couldn't even deal with it. The next day, Simon, I didn't even show up. That was kind of the extent of my first network marketing experience. And from that experience, years passed, and I always knew that there was potential in the business, but I always so kind of scared of moving forward with it because back then, there was no tools like this, no social media that allowed us to connect in such a, different way.
So what did you do during those years? So you quit, and then what were you doing before you got introduced back again to network marketing?
That's a great question. So I was introduced to personal growth. Tony Robbins fell in my lap, huge motivational speaker, and I started listening to some of the philosophy that really changed my outlook on things like sales. I've always been so scared. I was one of those people. I used to look for a job immediately. I was like, why don't you put me in the back where I don't have to deal with anything that has to do with sales or service? But one day listening to an audio of Tony Robbins, and he was just simply like, hey, go get what you're missing. Don't get comfortable. Go out there and search for the skills. So I decided to take a little sales course, and that gave me confidence. And that's how I got into, selling cars actually for a while.
Wow. So you went from scared of sales to selling cars. So how did you get into your current company? How was it introduced to you?
Well, after I sold cars for about 3 years, obviously that gave me tons of confidence, right? I moved on into becoming a financial advisor. So what happened to me was that I was always looking not just for an income opportunity, I was looking for time. And in the car business, you work crazy hours, 12 hours a day, you have no time for anything. And then I figured, if I move into the bank industry, right, I can have a little bit more time. As you know, bank hours are way more flexible than working retail. So what happened with me while I was working at the bank, I was, commuting long hours. I got myself to an uncomfortable weight. So I started into health, into fitness. I lost tons of weight. And that's when I was approached by my sponsor online, on Facebook, actually, and introduced me to this opportunity in network marketing. And, at first, again, I had a little skepticism because I had tried this sort of business before. But then when I saw that the prospects of social media, connecting with people in a different way, and it wasn't like a face-to-face, up-in-your-face thing, I felt a lot more confident to give it one more try again.
Your upline, your sponsor that found you on Facebook, was it cold market or warm market?
Actually, I was introduced by a friend, right? So right before, I was a full-time financial advisor, but I was also a part-time online fitness coach. So I used to kind of coach people little by little, but only on a very part-time basis. And one of my clients had a relationship with my sponsor. And what happened was they gave me that warm introduction to my sponsor online, but then again, of course, I didn't know her before then.
Got it. So how did you do with the first couple of weeks?
What happened to me was that I had a lot of things going on at the moment, right? I was working full time at my job. I had this part time little thing that I had, going on as an online fitness coach. And I had just a lot of things in my mind. And quite honestly, around this time, I started to develop my entrepreneurship spirit. I wanted to open my own gym. I had intentions of just open my own fitness apparel line. If you remember a few years back, almost every single person, let's say on Instagram, that's what they were doing. So what happened to me, I had a lot of things going on. So when they told me about this network marketing opportunity at the moment, I was like, hey, I've heard that it's not a bad thing. However, I have a lot of things going on. But then what happened with me was that my sponsor showed me the income opportunity and how successful she was at the moment. The truth is, Simon, I was blown away at the income opportunity and the opportunity to create leverage and time freedom with the company. And that's when I decided to take a closer look. At that moment, I researched. I started looking at things like your show, right? I started looking at more network marketing material. And that's when I found out that this indeed was a worthwhile opportunity to invest my time. So I left a couple projects behind. I had other things going on, and I decided to focus 150% into this business and put all the eggs in one basket, as you say, almost right away inside of the business.
So once you start doing that, it went by pretty fast then. It went pretty once you let those things go, the business really took off?
Yes, it took off. It didn't take me too long to go all in, because I was already looking for something where I can dedicate my full effort into. I had done so many different projects before, like I said. In fact, I was in the middle of opening my own fitness apparel line, but then I saw that as an entrepreneur, you have to do everything for your brand. In fact, at that moment, I would be the one that would create the design. I would be the one to ship out the product. I would be the one to market the product. I would have to be the jack of all trades for this small apparel line. Versus when I started to understand network marketing, with the product, they would ship the product out for me. They would do the design for me. When I started to study the entire industry and how it works, even drop shipping was like a huge thing for me with the network marketing industry. So when I took it serious, I went to my first event. As you guys know, events really was a big game changer for me, because there I was able to meet so many successful other entrepreneurs and network marketers. And that point, I fell in love with absolutely everything. I said, you know what? This is something I really want to dedicate myself 100% to. As soon as I make that choice consciously and decided to do it, despite knowing that, it's going to be a hard journey, everything started to click, and I started to kind of grow very fast inside of the business too.
Why do you think some people struggle while you made it really quickly? You did it really quickly.
I think, Simon, it takes people a while to go all in. It's to sincerely believe in the opportunity. I think that, the quicker that someone can get themselves, right, to believe 100% in their future, in the opportunity, in their sponsors, story, and their ability to actually do it, the quicker that things are going to start happening for them. And I think that was one of the blessings that really helped me, especially at first, was that I quickly decided to take this serious. And I see a lot of folks these days that just basically, it takes a while for them to go all in their heart. I think they start off as, let me see how it goes. I'll give it 6 months, but it takes them a while to kind of make that switch. And I always tell, some of my distributors, I say that the quicker that you make that choice in your heart to sincerely do this for real, is you're going to be able to see massive growth inside of your business.
What was the aha moment that you had that then things really took off?
Yes. I think for me, it came even before I decided to step on board in network marketing. It came, and I always share this story. It's a story about taking responsibility, for where you are in life. And what happened to me at one point, I was living in a small room with four strangers that I didn't even know in a basement apartment. And I took a little trip down to Dominican Republic to visit my mom. And during this trip, I came back, right? And I had a small collection of watches. Over time, I used to be like really into collecting little watches. It wasn't like a huge collection because I wasn't loaded or anything. But for me, it meant a lot. And when I came back from this vacation, someone had actually broken into my room from those roommates and stolen all of my watches. At that moment, I was starting to listen to personal growth and personal development, and I had a choice to make. Either I can, run around blaming everybody, being the victim because those watches were stolen for me, or I can take the approach of, taking responsibility of what had happened to me. So in that moment, I made a choice that I think marked my life, because I decided from that moment, and I said to myself, Simon, this happened to me because I wasn't working hard enough, right? Because I was procrastinating and not taking the action that I should have been taking. And I said, if I would have been taking the action, right, I wouldn't be living in this room with four strangers in the first place, right? So as soon as I took that responsibility in my life, from there on forward, I started generating ideas, taking action, procrastinating less. When I found network marketing, I decided to make the jump and work very hard from the beginning because I really wanted to get myself out of the situation that I was in. So that was my aha moment.
That's a huge aha moment.
Yes.
It's about, some people say that's terrible, but that's probably the best thing that happened to you.
Yes.
Right. How old were you when this happened?
I'm 33 now. I started my network marketing career at 29, so that was actually officially 4 years ago. I'd say my aha moment came about a year or two before that, when I started kind of developing ideas, trying to become an entrepreneur. So I'd say I was 27, 28.
How do you, when you come across as someone who's very, very confident, actually you have to get to where you are. How do you build, and you talked about you went all in, right? How do you build self-confidence and belief in yourself?
Oh, wow. This is, it's so funny you asked me that, because for me, I really genuinely believe it has been the difference for me. And in fact, one of the things that I really love and enjoy sharing with my teammates, right, is, teaching them or coaching them and how they can, believe more in themselves. And I think we hear this quite often in the industry, right? Oh, believe in yourself, believe in yourself. But some people have a very hard time at believing in themselves. And I think it's not as easy as people make it seem. Oh, just believe in yourself and that's it. So, what I've done, Simon, is I really come up with a few things that I feel are super important. I guess, let's say a few pillars that can help people increase their belief. And if that's okay with you, I can share what those pillars are.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So there's four main things that I really feel, Simon, that control our belief system. What I call it, pillars, right, of our belief system. And if we're able to take a hold on them and kind of understand them at a conscious level, like if you really at a conscious level and unconscious level are able to understand what determines your belief, I think it can really help you, especially inside of your business and whatever it is that you're trying to do. So, for example, the first pillar I really feel determines your belief, right? This is my opinion based upon my references and what I've learned and personally, right, is what you know, right? Your knowledge. And this is why I love that. Looking at you over there, all those books that you have in the background says a lot about the confidence that you've probably gained. And the first thing that I share with my coaches, right, and I say my distributors, I'm like, hey, if you want to feel more confident in your future, in your business, right, what you need to do is you need to learn more, right? You need to expand your skills. You need to expand your knowledge. I encourage them to pick up a book or pick up an audiobook or, listen to podcasts like Simon Chan's MLM Nation, because the more that you know, the more knowledge that you acquire, the more confident that you're going to feel. As a matter of fact, Simon, I'll be honest with you, one of the things that really helped my confidence getting started was listening to this podcast. Because I remember listening to so many other successful entrepreneurs and network marketers sharing, their journey and what they faced. So I was like, okay, that gave me confidence learning many of those skills that I was going to have to develop. So I'm always telling people, right, that the more that they know, that's the first thing that's going to solidify and build a rock solid belief system. Okay. That's number one. Number two is your relationship with failure. Right. And I think this is something that's been key for me. I think getting started immediately, you have to understand that failure is like your best friend. In fact, I think that if you understand that failure is just an experience, right? And it's something that you can learn from, you're no longer going to be so scared of it, right? And that's going to give you confidence, because the way I think is this: if you already know that failure means learning, then you're not going to be scared to move forward, because you almost feel invincible, which in turn is going to give you confidence to move forward, right? So confidence also comes from the fact of thinking that you can't fail because you're not going to quit, because you've already committed to that fact. So that's number two, that really solidifies belief. Number three is the opinions of others. And this is an area that I have a personal story I have to share, Simon, that's dear to my heart, which I think really helped me build this confidence. But when I was a teenager back in the Dominican Republic, I used to play basketball. And I loved sports, right? I loved playing. In fact, I thought I was good enough and had the talent, right, to one day be able to make it to the NBA, play professional sports. But, Simon, I'm not too tall, I'm only 5'8". So what happened to me was that everybody around me, friends, family, they started to say, you know what, I think you're wasting your time. You're only 5'8". You're not going to make it. You know what, you just come and join the family business or go to college. I mean, you're wasting all of your time at only 5'8", trying to play or trying to play to make it one day, because I was practicing all day. So what happened to me, Simon, is, you know what, I quit. I let go because of the opinions of others. And ironically, the gist of the story is about a year or two later, Simon, some guys around my height, they made it to play professional NBA. And they were my height around this exact same time. So what's funny is, after this happened, Simon, it gave me a different perspective of life. And I understood one thing. I was never, ever, ever going to let anybody steal that dream from me again. And it's unbelievable, because when I joined network marketing again, guess what many of the same people had to say about it? You're not going to make it. Only the top whatever make it. All these same sort of ideas that I got back then, when I had already lost one dream, had been again implanted to me this time. But this time, Simon, I said, oh, no. You guys are not going to have me lose two dreams. I've lost one, but not two. And I think that really helped me. So when it comes to building confidence, I always share with people, you got to be careful of the opinions of others. Because you know what? Most other people are going to give you an opinion based upon their own fear of failure, based upon their own references and their own experiences. I have family members, for example, that had failed in network marketing previously. And when I joined, they were like, I don't think you should try, because of their experiences. So for you to be able to build confidence, you have to understand that you cannot take the opinions of others to heart, because it can really be detrimental for you and your confidence moving forward. So that's number three. And number four, and the fourth pillar of belief that I really feel is super important that I share with others, is comparing yourself to others. And certainly this is an area where we see tons of people that are able to, give up on their business, because sometimes they have different abilities and they start comparing their abilities with others, or maybe thinking that, someone's better than you at doing X, Y, and Z. So you start saying, maybe I'm not going to be good enough to make it. Maybe I'm not going to be good enough. But, what a mistake that is, because what I share with people is a few things. Number one is that don't believe in the word talent. or don't believe in the word being smart. These are two words that I honestly eliminated from my vocabulary. I only believe in hard work. I only believe in people that are dedicated in learning and excelling. So, for example, are people really smart, or is that person really committed to growth? Like you, looking at, right now at your shelf full of books. I'm sure people call you smart all the time, but maybe they don't realize the amount of dedication that it's taking you to sit down and read and put work into your mindset, so that then you can become this knowledgeable person that is then be called smart. So what I share with people is, you got to be careful not to let that affect your confidence, because if you're thinking that people are smarter and that are better than you, right, it actually hurts your confidence, instead of just thinking, whatever someone is, I can become in the process. All right. So hopefully that's of value for you guys. But those are four main pillars. And I think that if you take these pillars and you put them into action and you understand them, immediately it helped me personally to elevate my confidence inside of the game.
Awesome stuff. Hey, I want to add something because a lot of our listeners are moms and parents. So one thing I learned is you never tell your kid is talented or smart. Never tell them, because what happens is, it's just say they do well, they're in third grade, whatever, they do well in math. Oh, you're so smart in math. You're so smart. Yeah. So there will be a time where he doesn't do well. And the first time he doesn't do well, what's he going to think?
Yes.
He's going, I'm not smart anymore. Or I can't compete against these kids anymore. Or I'm not I'm not as talented as I thought. I'm not as talented as what mom and dad said, right? So that's one of the things I do with my kids. Like, hey, you work really hard. I never tell them they're smart or talented.
Awesome.
Like, hey, you work hard. You know why you do well? Because you work hard. So because what happens is, if they don't do well, then they just realize it's not because they're not smart, talented. They just tell them, I got to work harder. I got to work harder. And, there's a saying like, you can't, I am definitely not smart, but I can outwork people.
There you go.
There you go. If you outwork someone that outworks is always going to be better than someone who is quote unquote smart.
Yes.
There's so many nuggets there. So good. We're going to go on forever. I guess when you say you listened to ML Nation, what was the thing that really helped you the most in terms of, was it your belief in the profession?
Yes, increasing the belief in the profession, hearing so many people that had gone through challenges and been able to overcome, and the confidence that they were on your show speaking, so many different stories. One of the things that really helped me, I remember I was listening to a show, I can't recall exactly, but they were really talking about the intensity of, having in your business when it comes to the prospecting side, when it comes to making sure that you are insistently building your list. I can't recall. I've seen so many interviews over the years, but I know that, one time someone was really talking about having that emphasis and intensity on building your prospect list and being that one of the most important parts of their business. And since then, I've really made it a priority to prospect. To continuously look for new people to speak to every single day, to expand my list, because I know that if I have a huge list of people to talk to, I will never run out of prospects. I will never run out of new people joining the program, being new recruits, and so forth. So I think that's one of the things that really inspired me, of course, inside of the show.
This is my favorite question. What was your worst moment in network marketing, to the point that you maybe thought, maybe I shouldn't do this. I should have done this apparel or something like that?
Yes. Well, a few things. I'd say, I've never been too good with people, honestly. That's why I was scared of sales, and, quite honestly, I never been too good in an environment where I had to be a team player, and for me, network marketing is like the team player environment. You need to be able to work well with others and collaborate, and most importantly, be a good teacher, right, of the message to others. And that's something that I really I really struggled with. In fact, in my first year in the business, I had a lot of people that would join me, right? But then a lot of people would leave me because, my retention level just wasn't there because of my coachability, my relationships with people just wasn't there. So for me, the switch that I had to make was really leadership. And, at that point, I used to see other leaders and they were just so natural at dealing with people, and that leadership skills came natural to them. So one of the areas where I really thought, man, maybe I'm not going to make it here was because I just wasn't a good people person, right? In a people business. So that's one of the areas where I talk to myself, oh my God, I don't know here. Am I in the right place here? Have I made the right choice to even dedicate my full career to going all in with this? I think that was one of the areas that I really saw had to take a deep look at myself. And thankfully, I got myself together. I remember I went out there I went to, I started buying books about leadership and about character development and about patience with people and about understanding of people. And that's when things started to change, right? For me, and then my team started to change and everything really kind of went in the same direction.
Let's talk about consistency. How important is consistency to success?
Oh, wow. It is certainly the common denominator of everything, because we can be good every once in a while, but if we don't sustain that, first of all, obviously in our line of business, what we really want is our efforts to be duplicated by others, right? That is the ultimate, thing, a success that we can have as network marketers. But in order for your success to duplicate, you need to be extremely consistent for people to catch on that this is what you're supposed to do on a daily basis. So for me, for example, going back to what I shared with you before about prospecting, one of the things that I really do in my business, and I try to duplicate prospecting intensity. So I'm always sharing with my team my daily prospecting strategy. I'm always like, hey, this is how much people I spoke to today. This is how much people I spoke to today. This is how much people I spoke to today. And I try to make that a priority for me on a daily basis. So ultimately, people are like, okay, this is what we need to do. And I think a lot of leaders is what they fall in is duplicating prospecting, and that because they themselves lack that consistency. Now, however, I understand how hard it is, honestly, to be consistent with that area of your business. But for me personally, it's been the area of the business that I think most has helped me create momentum into where we are today.
Thank you so much. As we go to the end of the show, some quick questions, and these could be quick answers. Okay, we're going to pick your brain here a little bit. What is one of your favorite success quotes that motivates you?
Oh, wow. It's a Jim Rohn quote. The major key to your better future is you. The major key to your better future is you. I absolutely in love with that, because at the end of the day, it's just you. And you are going to be able to have the key to everything you want to do. You're going to have to make the changes in you. You're going to have to study what you need to study, improve your skills. And it really is the best quote that encompasses almost everything that we need to do here.
What is one habit that's helped you become successful?
We just spoke about it 2 seconds ago. Consistency. I mean, in our line of business, the habit that really got me here today, I'd say prospecting. The habit of doing my prospecting every single day. In fact, it's one of the hardest parts of our business, right? Going out there and generating new leads, as we all know, for networkers is one of the hardest things. So the habit that really has helped me was taking care of that first thing in the morning. I take care of that as soon as I can, because for me, since it's the most challenging thing for me, building the habit of planting those seeds is certainly one thing that has made a huge difference for me. And I think that for those that want to be successful in this industry, it's the one habit that we need to dominate.
What's the best piece of advice you ever received?
Best piece of advice: be willing to live 1 or 2 years of your life like nobody would want to live, so that you can live potentially the rest of your life like most people can't live. It's a sacrifice quote.
What's your favorite prospecting tool? Say you have a qualified prospect. What do you like to do?
You mean like to get them on a call or something?
Do you get them on, do you send them a video first? Do you get them on a call first? Do you give out samples? What do you like to do?
I like to do one-on-one meetings, kind of like what we're having today. Either a FaceTime meeting. I use a tool called Zoom, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Zoom Cloud, which is kind of like just similar to this and here in Skype. And I just get on a call with them and I share my story. I share basically how I got started with the company, and I share the company history, and I invite them to get started. I'm a very one-on-one guy, and if they're local to me, if they're in my area, of course, I would always try to do like a local meeting at a coffee shop or at my home, however it's more convenient for those. But normally, I try to do one-on-one presentations myself.
Do you have a favorite online resource? You mentioned Zoom, or do you Dropbox, Evernote, or favorite app on your phone that you could recommend?
Well, there's so many. My business, I think what I most use to do webinars and trainings, weekly trainings with my distributors is certainly Zoom. I think that's one of the things that I most use to distribute them. I also use Telegram messaging. I use Telegram messaging because it's so versatile. It has so many features, and that's where I have my team chats, my client chats, all sorts of different chats and different documents as well, and things like that I share with my team members.
What's one or two books you could recommend to ML Nation?
Oh, wow. GoPro by Eric Worre certainly was a fundamental key for me, especially at the beginning, because it really compared traditional business. I mean, the first chapter compares traditional business, right, with network marketing. And if you recall, I was in the middle of doing my own fitness apparel brand. I wanted to open a gym. So that gave me clarity of what are the benefits of network marketing compared to traditional business, compared to having a 9-to-5, compared to going to college. And that gave me clarity as to what I wanted to invest my time into going forward. So that first book certainly really made a difference for me.
And here's the last question, the $1 million question. So you know it. So imagine you had to start all over again, and you no one. Didn't know your family, didn't know no one. But you had all your current knowledge, skills, and wisdom. What's the first thing you do, or the first place you go to find prospects and build a network marketing business from scratch?
Good. Well, I have built my entire business over the last 3.5 years on social media. So honestly, I think since I've now become knowledgeable with platforms, I'm on Instagram 90% of the time. That's my preferred platform where I've been able to do business over these last 4 years. And so I'd probably go right back to that. I'd probably go right back into that. There's just a pool of infinite prospects online that are basically looking for your services, looking for, your opportunity. And I think every single day is just so versatile to have new conversations, to open up things, and to get people on board on your program. I think certainly go right back into Instagram myself and do it all over again. I'd be happy to do so.
What would you go into Instagram? What would you do? You follow certain hashtags or
well,
interests?
It's a combination of yes, of course. You can prospect, of course, finding people on whatever it is. For example, in my case, I'm into health and fitness, right? That is my niche, right, in the network marketing industry. So basically, I would look for people that are in gyms. I would look for people that are looking at things related to health and fitness, hashtagging fitness things, or perhaps are tagging in nearby locations and gyms and whatnot. And I would interact with them. I would engage with them to try to create a conversation, to try to follow me back, and create relationships online. Because the one thing that most people do not understand about social media is that social media is a platform for you to be social first, right? For you to have social interactions. And then after that, you're going to be able, through your media, right? Social media, through your media, connect, build relationships, and of course, get people started and interested inside of your program.
Awesome. As we wrap up, any last words of advice? And then what's the best way our listeners can connect with you, Thomas?
Last word of advice is, make your choice as when you want to go in, but don't waste so much time. I think one of the best things that really helped me was believing in this business 150%, basically from the beginning, because I didn't waste so much time in the back and forth. Let me see if this is going to work. Trust me, the quicker that you're able to make the choice, make the sacrifice as well, because that really helped me, sacrificing a lot of my lifestyle. I knew for a fact, in fact, when I first started, right, I had a job, and I knew that at the beginning of my business, I wasn't going to be generating enough income as I was in my other job. So I knew that there was going to be a lot of sacrifices personally and financially. However, by going all in, I started to do very good in my business almost immediately because of the intensity of the work and the belief that I had. So go all in. The last thing, guys, you can reach out to me. You can contact me. I'm mainly 90% of the time on Instagram under Tom Rivas, TOMRIV as in Victor AS. That is my tag out there, my page on Instagram.
Hey, ML Nation, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And today, you've been hanging out with Thomas Rivas. So keep up the momentum. You can go to mlnation.com and go to the podcast tab, and you'll be able to see all the show notes for Thomas, links to his Instagram account, and all the good nuggets of wisdom he shared will be right there. Hey, Thomas, thank you so much. In order to be successful in life and in network marketing, you must help others. So thanks again for sharing your valuable time with ML Nation. We're grateful to you, and we appreciate you for having a positive impact on millions of distributors worldwide. Thank you so much again, and God bless you.
Thank you, Simon.